another 4 a.m. in the woods. 4 a.m. in the woods is where you wake up at 4 a.m. and you dedicate that time to God. I can't really take credit for this idea because I got it from Washington Carver. He actually gave God glory for all of his inventions and all the cool things that he did on Earth to that time in the morning where he would walk in the woods with God at 4 a.m. My 4 a.m. has been a chapter by chapter study and sharing it with you guys. And currently we're in 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 22 to be exact. We've been following David and Saul. We've been following Saul's fall from the Lord, his paranoia, his jealousy of David, and we've been following David and his BFF Jonathan. Last chapter, David was on the run. In this chapter, he's kind of found a little home in a cave. Chapter 22. So David left Gath and took refuge in the cave of Adullam. When David's brothers and his whole family heard, they went down and joined him there. In addition, every man who was desperate, in debt, or discontented rallied around him. He became their leader. About 400 men were with him. So David has his own Misfit Army, basically. It also shows from there, David went to Misfit of Moab, where he said to the king of Moab, "Please let my father and mother stay with you until I know what God will do for me." It kind of looks like David's family is also in this with him now. Knowing Saul, his paranoia, and all the great lengths he's going to find David and kill him, I'm sure he made some trouble for David's family. I'm glad to see that God has kept David's family safe so far. David is also seeking next steps from God. He wants to know what he's supposed to do next. David was looking for an answer and God sent one. The prophet Gad said to David, "Don't stay in the stronghold, leave and return to the land of Judah." So David left and went to the forest of Hereth. And Saul, next line, apparently has heard about David and his Misfit Army. And I kid you not, y'all, he had his spear in his hand. Saul heard that David and his men had been discovered. At that time, Saul was in Gibeah, sitting under a tamarisk tree at the high place. His spear was in his hand, and all his servants were standing around him. Saul said to his servants, "Listen, men of Benjamin, is Jesse's son going to give you all his fields, all of you fields and vineyards? Do you think he'll make all of you commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? That's why all of you have conspired against me." Basically, Saul is spiraling in paranoia and jealousy, and he is having like this pity party to his army. He's paranoid that his own troops are ready for him to die. You remember Doeg we mentioned in last chapter and how it was a foreshadow of something really bad to happen in the next? Doeg heard Saul having this pity party and how he's talking about, "No one even told me about this covenant that my son made with him." Doeg the Edomite, who was in charge of Saul's servants, answered, "I saw Jesse's son come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, at Nob. Ahimelech inquired of the Lord for him and gave him provisions. He also gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine." So Saul summoned these priests. Ahimelech says, "I'm at your service, my lord," and he tells him, "I had no idea. I didn't know that this was going on. I would have never helped him had I known." Saul doesn't believe him, and so Saul orders his servants to kill the priests and the priest's family. What's interesting, it says, "But the king's servants would not lift a hand to execute the priests of the Lord." They still feared the Lord. And so the king said to Doeg, "Go and execute the priest." So Doeg the Edomite went and executed the priest himself. On that day he killed 85 men who were in linen ephods. Also struck down Nob, the city of the priest, with the sword, both men and women, infants and nursing babies, oxen, donkeys, and sheep. However, one of the sons of Ahimelech escaped. His name was Abiathar, and he fled to David. Abiathar told David that Saul had killed the priests of the Lord. Then David said to Abiathar, "I knew that Doeg the Edomite was there that day and that he was sure to report to Saul. I myself am responsible for the lives of everyone in your father's family. Stay with me. Don't be afraid, for the one who wants to take my life also wants to take yours, and you will be safe with me." Innocent people die because of Saul and his jealous rage and paranoia. Doeg, I cannot believe that he betrayed those people like that. David is kind of upset about this, and he takes responsibility and protects Ahimelech's son. I can't help but read this and see Saul as Satan. Here's why. Saul is currently sitting on the throne. He is jealous and paranoid, and he doesn't know when David is coming to take his spot. He's ruthless, killing God's people, persecuting, and just wants to kill, steal, and destroy to get his way. But there's a new king coming, a leader of a misfit army like us. With God, leadership in adversity is possible and can be successful. The spiral of jealousy and paranoia is a violent one. And even though things look bleak for David, God is still very much involved in his life and still has big plans for David. So if we're in a season where we are in a cave and we're hiding and fearful, just remember that God has a plan. God has a purpose. All you have to do is sit tight and wait for the next steps. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.